What's up everybody, my name is Dan and welcome to Ahnestly. Today we are checking out a very unique chair, the DUOREST Alpha. And this chair looks straight up like ET, like it looks straight up alien. But don't let looks deceive you because I think some of you guys are gonna really like this chair, especially with this really unique wing function here that just cradles your back. But before we get started, this video was sponsored by nobody. You guys know why? Because 95% of you guys have still not hit that subscribe button yet. So the only people that are trying to sponsor this channel are super shady vendors, which I would never pass along to you guys. So if you guys wanna see this channel grow, please hit that subscribe button. And just a quick pitch, here at Ahnestly, I like to take a more personal approach. So I like to answer as many questions and comments as possible. So if you like that personal touch, which the large YouTubers just don't have, make sure you get subscribed. Let's get honest. DUOREST agreed to give me a 15% off code to share with you guys, so make sure you use it for that extra savings. Oh, my knees hurt. I don't typically talk about the design of a chair because a chair is a chair. But in this case, I feel like I have to because it's so different. See, in lieu of a standard back pad, it uses these two wings and they're attached using these giant rubber square grommet things on the bottom so it won't rip. Like if it was much thinner, it would rip really easily, but these are fat pieces of rubber that I feel like are not gonna rip, at least not for a very long time. On the bottom here is mesh and it's gonna be necessary, as we'll get to in a minute. Oh, and I forgot, this back is totally adjustable, again, which we'll get to later on in the video. When it comes to sizing, this chair is definitely for folks on the taller side. As you can see at the lowest setting, when I'm scooched all the way back, my feet are just barely on the ground, but my knee position is not ideal. You see how they're kind of sliding down? Whereas my knee should be at 90 or slightly above. So if you're like me and you're 5'6", you definitely wanna get a foot pad or a foot rest like I have over here. You definitely wanna get something like this to raise your feet up. But if you are someone who wants to forego the foot pad, I think someone who's about 5'8", 5'9", or taller is going to particularly enjoy this chair. Now, the other reason why much taller people are gonna enjoy this chair is because it doesn't have a typical back. And what that means is there's nothing hitting that shoulder blade or not hitting that shoulder blade. So in this case, you're gonna be able to have total freedom of the shoulder blades. And in addition to that, the back actually can adjust up and down for even taller folks. So starting from the bottom and we'll work our way up. Really quickly guys, a lot of you have asked me to review the Hayworth Fern. And I'm happy to announce that because of you guys' support, because of you guys' love for this channel, I am in talks with them to get the Fern in this, I guess, studio is what you call it. So if you guys want the latest updates, make sure you get subscribed on my Instagram, instagram.com/stayahnest. And also I've got the IKEA gaming chairs here. I'm testing them out now, as well as Herman Miller are sending over their 3 gaming chairs. So if you guys wanna see reviews on those chairs, make sure you guys get subscribed. I appreciate it. The casters on this chair are pretty nice as it becomes really difficult to move on hardwood floors, and it's super stable on carpets as well, so that if you're on a hard surface, you know that it's not gonna wiggle and jiggle on you. The legs are pretty standard. They're a shiny metal, but I like that they've got a little bit of flat, even though they're thin, they've got a flat surface. So if you like to put your foot on it or your heel on it as you sit, you can totally do that without slipping off. Now, when it comes to the bottom functions of this chair, it's surprisingly simple, but I like what it's got. So on the right side, you're gonna have this tab here, which is the standard height adjustment. And then right next to that, you're gonna have a knob, which you can tighten the back tilt adjustment or loosen it. And what I like is that you can pull it out in case you're someone shorter like me, so it's easier to reach, or if you're taller, you can just simply leave it in its standard position and tighten and loosen it like that. And one thing to note is that it doesn't take that many turns to tighten or loosen a chair. I've tested it, it's maybe about 15 chairs, the difference between being able to lean back with barely any effort and 15 turns forward to have it sit pretty much firmly with it being barely any give. So that's pretty much it for the left side. Now, when it comes to the right side, this obviously is going to be a back tilt lock. And if I loosen it, it's just gonna be, I can go as far as I want. So this is as far as it goes. Now, what's unique about this chair is that I can lock it in place. So as you can see, it's not coming back up with me. So if I do that, I can lock it in place. What it doesn't have is it doesn't have the notches or increments at which I can lock it in. So that it doesn't have that, but I like the fact that this chair makes a lot of sense because they give you a headrest and they give you the ability to recline and lock that recline. And some chairs give you the ability to lock a recline without a headrest, which is just really stupid because at that point you're kind of hanging like this. Like why would you Why would you do that? But in this case, they give you a headrest so that it makes sense that you can lock it in the reclined position. So good on DUOREST for including that. Now, moving up to the seat. This seat is a mesh seat with a large foam pad here in the front, and it's got big plastic rims on the outside. Now, because it lowers down in the front, I don't feel this plastic on my legs. I imagine if you're someone who's shorter than 5'6", you're gonna feel this plastic because your legs are gonna, well, because they're shorter, they're gonna terminate a little bit, that crease is gonna terminate a little bit earlier, and so you're gonna feel this plastic. So again, if you're shorter than 5'6", I don't think you're gonna particularly love this chair. Also, if you're someone who likes to be an ergonomics rebel, these plastic sides, they just hurt too much. I tried it, and even though you've got a little bit more space in the chair, especially if you're not a shoe wearer, this kind of hits on your foot bone. So it's not gonna be for the ergonomic rebels out there. This is gonna be for the people who like to sit like this, or people who like to lean back and put their foot on something, not for the leg curlers out there. Although you can do leg over leg, there's plenty of room in the chair to be able to do that. So you're good with that. Now, because it's mesh, as always, you know, if you like to pass gas, it's gonna pass right through there, so it's not gonna stain it, at least not as easily as fabric. Now, some of you guys have doubted my facts, but go on Reddit, type in fart chair, and yeah, good luck. So that's for the seats. When it comes to these arms, these are really cheap arms. They're hard, they're not very squishy, and they just have very minimal range of movement. Like, you can slide them forward like this and back. You can pull them up and down. You can swivel them in and out. I don't believe you can slide them in and out. So straight up, you know, horizontal movement like this, you can't do that. But yeah, these arms are super cheap. They rattle a little bit, not the best arms. I wish these would have been a little bit better, but that's it in terms of the arms. Now let's get to the exciting part, the backrest. Okay, so this thing, like I said before, it really cuddles you. It really cups you. The best way I can put it, and it's not a good way, the only analogy that I have for it is some people like racing / gaming style chairs because of the way that it cuddles them. This chair is like that on crack, but without the shoulder turning, of the gaming chairs. And in addition to that, without the sometimes poor lumbar support that they give, because this has plenty of lumbar, because this is literally sitting all the way up and down on your back, which is gonna be problematic, as I'll talk about in just a minute. Well, not really problematic, but there are some issues that come with that. But this chair here, I mean, this thing is just amazing. Like, there are these muscles that run along the side of your spine. If you've ever gotten a massage and they're pressing into those muscles, you know how good that feels. And this feels like it's just holding your back muscles in place. It's a really great feeling. And because they wobble a little bit, like I showed you before, you can see that they kind of bend with you as you turn. And this feels really good. You might be thinking like, there's a gap here. Doesn't that bother you? Well, kind of. If you get it too wide, so if you are on the very heavier set and you get it too wide, you can feel like there is too much of a hole. But the other issue is the same. If you're someone who's very slim and very lean and you bring them in close together, you start to feel like the pads start to fight for each other for like forwardness, and because of that, you can get a little bit uncomfortable. So you have to have like a good amount of spacing in between so that it sits, but it's not fighting for space and it's not leaving too much of a gap. So this is gonna be for people who I'm gonna call like moderate to moderately heavy folks. If you're too heavy, I think it's gonna be, you're gonna have to spread those cheeks. No, you're gonna have to spread the back a little bit too far. And if you're on the skinnier end, you might have to close it a little bit too much, which can get uncomfortable. Now, the thing that comes with the territory of wings like this is that because it is touching literally your lower back all the way to your upper back, you're gonna get back support like you've never felt before. But in addition to that, you're gonna get heat like you've never felt before, which is why I said I'm glad they have a mesh bottom, because this back is so hot. Like, I sat down in it and I just instantly was like, I am so hot. Why am I so hot right now? And I realized it's because you literally get no breathability from your lower back all the way down here, all the way to your upper back. So that is something that you sacrifice if you get a chair like this. Now, when it comes to the back adjustments, oh, this is also why tall people would like this, is because this center knob here, if I unscrew it, you're gonna see that it's gonna drop down a little bit. It basically loosens it so that I can adjust it up or down. And I'm gonna say, this is unscientific, I'm gonna say it gives you about 7 to 8 inches of range here. So I can go ahead and bring it down, or I can raise it all the way up, and then I can turn it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have notches. Like I know some chairs that let you go click, 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 click. This one is just pure manual. It's just gonna slide up and down. You find the right position and you turn it. I don't love this design because obviously you can't sit in the chair when you do it. So how will you know what position you like? So not the greatest design, but whatever. The left and the right knobs, if you loosen them, not only do the wings become more loose, which I don't think you should do. I think you should always tighten them. But by loosening them, you can adjust them in or out. And so in this case, I'll go ahead and spread them out as far as possible. So here, so I'll do that. And then I'll go ahead and sit in the chair. And just like I was saying before, if it's too wide, it feels like there's just too much of a gap, and it feels like you are falling into the middle, and it can create this weird sensation that you're actually curling more forward than you'd like. Because if you're not intentional about spreading your back out, then the center was gonna push you in a little bit. And even though there's nothing pushing in on your shoulders, you're just gonna end up sinking into your chair. Also, just one thing to note is that the way that these cup your back, it's gonna really, no one's gonna look good in this chair. It's gonna really pronounce those love handles. And I've got a lot to love here. So yeah, if you are someone who's trying to look good for that special someone while sitting in a chair, yeah, don't sit in this one. This is gonna really make you look chunky on the sides there, okay? That's a free one, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the back adjustments of this chair. Now this headrest is nice because I personally like small headrests. I don't like ones that get in the way. Unfortunately, I wish this had a little bit of X-axis, like forward and back, because when you're sitting on this chair, there's no way that you can sit on it in a way that this headrest doesn't get in the way, right? Like I can turn it up and down, but you can see that I'm never changing the amount that it comes forward. But unlike other headrests, this is pretty far back, which means that only when you actually lean back will you feel this one. You'll feel it tickle your head when you're sitting up, but unlike other headrests, which I feel like are just too pronounced forward, pushes your head forward a little bit, this one is not like that. And the controls are simple. As I showed you before, I can tilt it up or down, and then I can go down or up. And like all these, you know, headrests, except for Atlas headrests, the adjustability is extremely difficult to do. I like though that it's got leather on the bottom so that if you end up over pushing it while you're sitting on the chair, it's not gonna slam on your spine bone or on your neck bone here. So if you look here, so this is me sitting up pretty comfortably. You can see that the headrest is just tickling my head, but it's not pushing my head forward like on so many other chairs. So I really like this headrest. I like how simple and small and inconspicuous it is. So that's it when it comes to the headrest. So my overall thoughts. I thought this chair was gonna be a gimmick, guys. Like I was like, this chair is crazy, laughable, ridiculous. And then I sat on it and I was like, okay, this is really nice. Like the amount of back support you get is unreal, and it solves the issue of really tall folks who feel like, hey, this plastic is really digging into my shoulder blades. That's not happening here. Just the only thing you have to be careful of is closing this gap so that you're not falling and turtling into the chair like this, and instead you're using it properly to span out like that. And if you're super tall, if you're 6'4" or higher and you have this chair, let me know your comments down below, because I would love to include this in my recommendation for tall folks in that mid to high range of chairs. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Again, here at Ahnestly, I like to do a personal touch. So if you have questions or comments, let me know down in the comments below. Until next time, guys, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.